Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, coming at you live to talk about episode 21 of the anime series Sakurada Reset. And this was an awesome, mind-twisting episode, I gotta say. We finally see Superhero K again. The grand manipulator, the puppet master. K was like a symphonic conductor in this episode. I did not expect that photo of Samir, the same photo that they were able to rescue her out of, for all intents and purposes previously, was still in existence, and they could still utilize it again to sort of double up on using Sumir's ability, her precognitive ability, to the order of basically allowing Kay to piece together how to take steps in the next 24 to 48 hours to try to stop what Arachi is trying to do, what he's trying to accomplish. And it was just, I was getting goosebumps the entire time. It was awesome. I mean, he was thoroughly magnanimous, and he was very much concerned for the photograph Samir, as I keep referring to her in these videos, because she denies the fact that she is even Samir anymore, and that's something per her dialogue in this episode that goes back to the foundations of her abilities and her birth. It goes back to her birth, this uncertainty of self, because she's always been impacted by the truths and the futures and the dreams and the hopes and the aspirations of other people she's interacted with, even from that early on. And out of everyone that she's ever encountered, she says herself very plainly the reason for her romantic desires toward Kay are because out of everyone, his were the most righteous hopes, the things he wanted to attain, the things he wanted to bring about, the things that would happen at his hand were so beautiful and were so, awe-inspiring and were so pure, for lack of a better term, so righteous. And again, it goes back to that through line ever since the very early stages of this series of being consumed with what righteousness is. Can you be righteous for the fact that you're trying to help other people, then taking in tow into consideration the fact that you're still getting something out of it, like that whole philosophical argument, that whole dilemma spells out the very nature of why Samir is so attracted to Kay, attracted to him beyond just the physical form, beyond just who he is as a cute, hunky guy. It's the things he wants to do, and it's the things subsequently he will accomplish with the help of his surrounding compatriots that so entices her, that so, makes her smitten with him and everything like that. What he can accomplish, what he's capable of, is so outstanding and brilliant to her. It's like the shining light throughout the darkness to her. It's the thing, beckoning to her. And it's all she can do in now 3 thorough incarnations throughout the history of the show. The one who killed herself, the one they rescued out of the photograph, and then the alternate photograph version who's only alive for 10 minutes to help Kay figure out the next course of action he needs to take over the next 24 to 48 hours. And I like how he's marrying that with becoming more personally cognizant of who Haruki has become, who she is, things that matter to her. They are talking about, air quotes, meaningless things like, oh, what's your favorite color? He likes blue. I like blue too. She likes a deep red. Green was discussed. And you have to, the only sort of downside to this episode is this is the setup for the next few episodes. Everything Kay is learning here, we're only getting like half of the conversation in a sense. What he is observing, what he is taking, in tow mentally and everything like that. He's raising his finger at Samir to conduct her ability that is passing through him due to that, third cat we haven't seen for a very long time, who can, basically create a bridge between two people and link their abilities and such like that. He's using that in this grand symphony, as I say, of what he is going to do in those next stages. And so we're only seeing that earliest, formulating a plan, being, putting that together. And so we don't know how and why and all of that stuff, how these things are going to all fall into place and how they are going to become relevant necessarily. We can speculate, but even I myself am kind of wanting to dial back the speculation because I'm not really sure what it all amounts to. The discussions between he and Haruki, I have to assume, are meant to be there to forge even more, solidly the relationship between them that has been burgeoning and has come to a head in a sense, because this is the most evolved either one of them has ever been. In the previous episode, Kei was basically brought to the boiling point to break down for the losses of his family of old, for the loss of Haruki as they'd come to know each other. He began to become aware of how important she was to his life and how much she meant to him. And that's something he's kind of, it's been drawn into question even by myself throughout the course of the series. How is he really feeling about her? Does he have the same sort of romantic feelings for her? And he finally admitted that in the last episode, and he wanted to fight for that. And so I have to assume their playful dialogue wasn't meant as a distraction. These are things that will become relevant in the next few episodes as they are, going up against Arachi. And it may not be something that surfaces again until they succeed, presuming they will succeed in stopping him from destroying all the abilities in Sakurada. It may not be something that comes until the aftermath that, Kei gets her, roses or something, or it's a romantic gesture that will go back to this playful conversation within this encapsulated photograph using that third version of Samir's abilities. But I love that. I love that it's part and parcel with Kei wants to now more than ever return the favor for Samir's sacrifice, her time and time again sacrifice, the original Samir's sacrifice of her own life, the photograph Samir's sacrifice of happiness, of joy, of having to give up the love and the interest she had in Kei for the sake of preserving and protecting Kei's own happiness, aligning them together, he and Haruki, and everything like that. That was a sacrificial act on her behalf. She'd already killed herself for him. And now she's giving of herself, willing to lose her own happiness for the benefit of his own. And so it's all that Kei can do to find a way to protect her, to keep her safe. She is about to commit suicide again in this episode. And I was dumbstruck by that when she races to the top of, that stairwell on the side of the building. Raji is very close behind, and she starts revealing all, and I was really wondering what was the purpose of that. Of course, she's just trying to buy Kei those 5 minutes. She cannot lie, because that would drop the whole well of suspicion upon her, and that would probably throw a wrench in the works of what Kei was trying to accomplish in those moments. So she had to, be able to persuade Arachi's attentions away from the outlying area, of everything else that was potentially going on that he wouldn't know about anyway. But he's got that little book, and apparently he can even read future, excerpts from the book, as long as it's locked and the reset thing happens and everything. He knew everything. He had a few things that he wasn't sure about, as far as, he speculated it must have been a photograph that Kei had utilized to reawaken the reset ability in the wake of all abilities being, subtracted from Sakurada. He was right about that, but he wasn't sure. And, he was going over again the conversation he had with Samir in the original timeline. This time out, she's running away from him. She's trying to get away. She's dodging away from him, but they catch up to her. And this is where she's backed up against it, and she's about to leap off the top of this stairwell. And my breath caught in my throat. I'm like, oh my God, this would be wholly unexpected, expected rather. I would be losing my ever-loving crap if she died again. I'm like, no. And Kei, he perceives it through that precognition ability with the Samir, the third version of Samir in the photograph, and he's able to, thank goodness, he had the presence of mind to have his telepathic ability to pal right there, so he could send that message to her. Just keep him busy for 5 minutes. Just don't do anything. Don't do anything rash. Don't make any rash decisions. Just keep him busy. Keep him occupied. All I need is 5 minutes. And that's where all of that conversation, all of that conducting was going on, that grand conducting. setting up whatever Kay is going to put into motion in the next few episodes. And so he saved her again. He saved her again. And like his end goal is bringing he and Haruki together, saving Sumire and protecting her and preserving a happy and benevolent future for her, and quitting out Arachi ever achieving wiping away these abilities all told. This was a spectacular episode. As setups go, it was riveting. Again, we're going to have to wait and see how this all pans out, how all of these things, will come into play, what relevance they all have to Kay's overarching plan over the next few episodes. But in spite of that, I was on the edge of my seat. I was riveted. As soon as Sumire is running away from Arachi, I'm like, oh, this is going to go wrong, isn't it? And I didn't expect that it was going to lead up to just before she is about to commit suicide again. Before Kay, realizing this, puts a halt, to it, and is still able, within those 10 minutes, and then whittled down to 5, he's still able to get whatever he needs, that he feels confident he's gotten what he needs, to put an end to this, and to manage to equate all of those things, bring himself closer to Haruki, save Sumire's life, and save abilities all throughout Sakurada. So the next couple of episodes is going to be really interesting to see how all of those things come into play, and hopefully they will equally be as riveting as I found this episode. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of this episode. Personally, yourselves, if you thought it was as riveting, if you didn't think it was really amounting to much, if you were shocked that Sumire was about to commit suicide again, was willing to do so, feeling like she had, spent every opportunity she had, trying to apply some sort of effect on the circumstances, and she felt like she'd run out of options. Were you gobsmacked by that? Were you then as satisfied as I was? Thankfully that Kay, was able to stop her from doing that and even save her life. And are you penultimately curious to see, as I am, what is going to happen as a result of the effects of this episode? Love to hear from you in the comments below. Always love having that conversation. Otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.